A very good afternoon from the foreshore in Nedlands. It is round 2 of the FMG Premier Grade, which sees Nedlands coming up against Perth Bayswater. Both teams winning their opening game of the season, so they're currently sitting top of the ladder, all tied on 5 points. UWA are top at the moment, and we then have Perth Bayswater in second, followed by Palmyra, and then Nedlands and West Subiaco, or West Scarborough as they are today, all on 5 points, and it's just they all picked up a bonus point, and it's just a points differential separating those teams. So obviously both the teams coming into today looking for a victory. We're going to turn our attention, I think, to the team lineups before the players come out, and just 2 changes from the Nedlands lineup from last week. One of those in the second row, Drake Robson comes in at number 5. Joe Skipper comes in at flanker, and that's because Aidan Laxton got a 1-week suspension, picking up 2 yellow cards last week. But Nedlands looked very strong in the forward line, and look out for big Blake Phillips and also number 4 Zantana Pomare. Turning our attention now to Perth Bayswater, and again they've got a few changes from the team that managed to defeat Curtin last weekend, and Bowen Abra comes in the front row wearing number 3. Shakir Kandhai comes in at number 4 in the second row, and Owen Milburn, who was a substitute last week, starts at number 6, and also the French winger Damien Menard comes into the starting lineup this week, having played off the bench last week against Curtin University. Well, we're just waiting now for the players to make their way out. There's a few milestones coming out today, and it's a 149th appearance for Jake Boost, the captain of Perth Bayswater. It's a record for the club, and next weekend, of course, he will have his 150th appearance for the club in the Premier Grade, as long as he doesn't get injured today, and they will be at home against West Scarborough next weekend. So hopefully all the Perth Bayswater fans, current and old, will get down there and celebrate that milestone for Jake Boost. Just waiting for him and the team to appear from the dressing rooms. And of course a major milestone as well for Nedlands, an all-time record, and that will be Nathan Roberts making his 177th Premier Grade appearance. And if you're watching this live stream, we urge you to stay with us at half time, because we managed to get an interview with Nate at training on Thursday, just to see what the milestone meant to him, and also how he ended up playing for 16 years at the top flight here at Nedlands on the foreshore. Well, you look at the scenes here, and it is a wonderful setting, and you can understand why anyone would want to play rugby here. Last week it was a very, very windy day. Today I have to say that the river is like an absolute mill pond. It is absolutely still and flat, and there's hardly a yacht out there, whereas last week it was just yachts as far as the eye could see. The games, of course, this week being brought forward by an hour or half an hour. So it's actually an hour, isn't it? Yes, so that the Western Force can take on the Waratahs and all the local rugby fans can get there. So we see Perth Bayswater making their way out, led by their skipper, Jake Boost. And what a servant he's been to the club. And as I say, get down there next week when he plays his 150th game for the club. And now we're just waiting for all the substitutes to come through. And then it will be the turn of Nedlands, and no doubt Nate Roberts will run a little bit further ahead of his teammates. And I know that players from the Otahonga Rugby Club in New Zealand, they're tuning in to this live stream, because that's where he started his rugby. His father, John Grice, having played for King Country, is also tuning in, so welcome, and we hope your son has a great game today. He's usually pretty consistent, so it's not often he has a bad one. And of course I should mention that Otahonga actually wear the same colours as Nedlands, and in fact before the West Coast Eagles came into the scene, I believe that Nedlands used to get their socks each season from Haddads, who supply Otahonga Rugby Club, because they couldn't get the yellow and blue socks over here in Western Australia. So there's a very strong link between the two clubs, and obviously an even stronger one with Nate Roberts about to break the all-time appearance record for Nedlands today, beating Trevor Thomas's record of 176. He equalled that last week, and this week he will go one ahead of Thomas. Thomas, of course, an absolute legend at the club, and I should mention that his son Callum is actually going to be playing today on the wing for Nedlands, wearing the number 14 shirt. I don't think his father ever got out on the wing except when he was knackered. but certainly his son has a little bit more pace about him than the father. Trevor Thomas, of course, was captain of Western Australia when they played British Lions back in 2001, and that was a record victory for the Lions, 116-10, as here come the Nedlands boys with Nate Roberts at the front, getting pats on the back and plenty of cheers. And no doubt he'll just look at it as another game. Spoke to him in the week, a very modest man, very humble. And to him, it's just another game of rugby. Well, I'm Ashley Morrison, looking forward to sharing all of the action with you today. I'd like to thank Loyley's Bakery for their support, 13 cafes and bakeries in the metro area. And if you get the chance to support them with your trade, please do so. And also Instant Scaffolds, scaffolding and access equipment available in Welshpool for all your requirements. Please contact Instant Scaffolds. Well, the match about to get underway. There goes the whistle. Nedlands to get us underway. Kicking away from the foreshore. But it's good ball for Bayswater. Straight away looking to get on the front foot. That's a very good step. Getting through one tackle there coming from Otto Masier. It's Morzier, rather. My apologies. Again, it's good ball. Bayswater, clearing kick. It's not going to make touch. Underneath it is Finn O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan steps off his left, managed to evade one tackle. Good work by the young winger. Makes the ball available. Roberts to Tarawa. Miscontrolled in midfield, and Bayswater quick to pounce on the loose ball. Good work by their forwards. Now spun out by Josh Staups. Charged down that time. The click from Danny Vajevic. Comes back to Nedlands. Roberts. This time it's big Blake Phillips charging forward. Gets a big roar from the crowd, but taken to ground well by Perth Bayswater. Charging forward now is Pomeray. Pomeray again taken to ground. Good tackling by Perth Bayswater. And now into the back line coming is Jackson Nielsen. First touch for him. Roberts arrives. Just rolls the ball. Tarawa. Drake Robson, first touch for him, taking into contact. Again, a son of a former Premier Grade player. Nedlands on the outside now, looking to slip that inside to Justin Zeitzman. Zeitzman brought to ground, and it's going to be a penalty, not releasing, I think, in the tackle. Or it may well have been Nedlands just stopping the ball coming at. It was just actually, I was right the first time, holding on to the ball in the tackle and not releasing it. So, penalty will ease the pressure for Perth Bayswater. Roberts spinning that one wide again, taken in the air by Jackson Nielsen. Nielsen taken to ground, the backs are there first, making the ball available. Taken into contract by Tom Sheminen, member of the Western Force, released to play today, but just not forward, so we will have the first scrum of the day. Gives me a chance also to give a warm welcome to Tony Raphael Rugby Club in Wales. Richard Vaughan at Nedlands is the president of that club, just north of Cardiff, and it's the gateway to the Rhondda Valley. Tony Raphael. Oh, my Welsh is terrible anyway. Of course, Cliff Morgan, the famous Welsh player and commentator, hailing from there, was president as well many years ago. So the ball going in now for Perth Bayswater. Good shove from Nedlands, but scrum falls down. Tom Sheminant not able to stay on his feet. Gave the referee quite an evil glare, Tom Sheminant. And that beard, oh, it's quite impressive, isn't it? The front rows now just binding. A little bit of a delay for the Nedlands front row. Nick Hyde, I think, feeling that Perth Bayswater have stolen a few metres. Eventually is happy with the front row's crouch. Referee tells them to bind, and now they will engage. They set. Tap on the back comes from Josh Stops. Again, the front rows pop up. Where's the ball? And it's come out Bayswater's side, and quickly on the attack. Quick hands from Marcia. And it's knocked forward this time by Perth Bayswater, so a scrum on the far side, and it will be Nedlands' ball. So forwards again, making their way across. No real hurry. Tuki Remona taking his time. I mentioned Trevor Thomas being the captain of Western Australia against the Lions. Of course, we don't get those games anymore because the Super Rugby Western Force would play against the Lions, but that game was the overall highest score by a British Lions side, also the biggest margin of victory, and also the most tries scored in one game, a total of 18. But Western Australia did get 2 tries. Bent Beecroft and Robbie Barrett the other. So those 2 players will live forever in the history of Western Australian rugby. So Roberts now in his 177th appearance, made his debut as a number 10 back in 2005, now finds himself wearing the number 9 shirt. I was reading up in the week about his debut, and they were saying that he was reminiscent of Gavin Birmingham, who played for the club and was a great servant at number 10, and everybody felt that was a really high accolade for Nate Roberts on his debut. Well, he's certainly rewarded those compliments by staying with the club, and now the all-time most appearance in the Premier Grade. Rolls the ball in under the feet of Blake Phillips. Roberts to Tarawa. Tarawa takes it into contact, taken down. The forwards are there quickly. Driving through the first tackle was Pomeret. And again, I think it's lost forward in the tackle by Nedlands. So both teams at the moment, they're just losing the ball, and I would say that's the strength of the tackling by both teams. Neither team holding back in those tackles and just jarring the player as they go to ground. So we will have yet another scrum. Nedlands last week were victorious 37-16 over Kalamunda, whereas Perth Bayswater 38-7 over Curtin University. Stops again, waits next to the referee. Halfway between the 10-metre line and the 22, and it's a good drive again. It's one against the head by Nedlands, picked up by Roberts. Roberts gets past one, brought to ground eventually. They're on the 22 now. Nedlands, can they set it up? The ball spun out by Drake Robson. Driving forward, looking for the support. Nedlands have got the numbers. They come the blind side now. Nick Hyde, short little pass to Raymona. Raymona taking a ground. It was a good tackle from Beard. Still going the blind side. Corey Cudd, can he stay in field? He does though, but the flag eventually, as he spun the second time, just ending up just putting a foot on the line. And the touch judge perfectly placed. So it will be a Perth Bayswater line out and a chance to ease the pressure, because Nedlands just inching towards their try line at the moment. Just 10 minutes gone in the match. Good jump and claim by Shakir Kandhai in the line out. Scrappy ball though, coming out the back. Taken into contact by Sam Beard. Beard making the ball available. Man with so much experience, comes from Timaru in New Zealand. And it's a good clearing kick as well. Takes them up just probably about 5 or 6 metres short of the 10-metre line inside their own half. And just thought there, Benjamin Boost just trying to ask the referee if they could have another metre. I think in fact he was just making sure that it was in the right spot and he'd taken the right position. So Hyde now with the throw. Goes to the back of the line. Quick ball for Roberts. Roberts to Tarawa. Offloaded in the end to Zeitzman. Zeitzman. Roberts again. Goes to Pomeray. Pomeray brought down. He's a big man. That was a good tackle. Tarawa misses out one. Goes out now to Joe Slipper. Slipper looks to go inside and then back on the outside. Offloads it to O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan stumbles, just crawls about a metre forward. Ball available again. Roberts, though, just knocked forward as he tried to pick that one up. And he slaps his own hand in frustration. Nathan Roberts, if you just joined us, becoming the all-time record holder for Nedlands today. 177th Premier Grade appearance. Of course, he won the PG Hampshire Award in 2007. Hailing originally from Waikato, and just to celebrate matters, he made the FMG Team of the Week last week, as did Zantana Pomeray of Nedlands and also Dante Titafa from Perth Bayswater. So congratulations to those players making the Team of the Week in the first week of the competition, the FMG Premier Grade 2021. So the scrums have been strong from Nedlands so far. And this will be a real test for Perth Bayswater. Front rows have gone down once again. To be fair, I think when they engaged that time, just neither scrum was actually square on. They were on a slight angle. Nedlands boring in a little bit from left to right, which is always going to make it hard for the opposite front row to stay on their feet. I know a lot of people get confused when the front rows do collapse. Talking to a former prop, he said you need to look at the position of the two props, and if their feet are in a certain position, you know whether they are the ones collapsing it or not. Still reckon it's hard to tell. Good pick up and drive that time by Jake Boost, playing his 149th game for Perth Bayswater. Stops, goes back. This should be a good clearing kick. Is it going to make touch into the wind? No. Claimed by O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan to Corey Cudd. Cudd then in turn goes out to Callum Thomas. Thomas spins it wide and just trying to evade the tackle, but stayed on his feet well. And Nedlands have the ball, but this forward still just strolling back, and they were going to get in the way. That's why had to be taken into contact by Drake Robson. Raymona offloads it to Joe Skipper. Skipper again brought down. Roberts is there quickly. Cudd now in at fly half. Looping pass from him out to Tarawa. Spin. It's good defence again from Perth Bayswater. Corey Cudd. Tarawa steps off his left foot. Evaded one tackle but was nabbed at the second attempt by Perth Bayswater. Ball comes out again. Pomeray again goes forward. And there's appeals from Perth Bayswater. Little box kick from Nate Roberts, aiming for the corner flag, and that's a very, very good kick. Going to take Nedlands down just about 5 metres from the try line on the right-hand side. Great platform if they can get good ball from the line out. So the referee making his way to the back of the line out so he can keep an eye on the Perth Bayswater defence, making sure they're behind the try line and don't creep up too early. Dante Titafu with the throw. It's a good throw, grabbed in the air by Yagashita. Looking to just set it and make a platform to be able to get a good clearing kick and a good angle away defensively. Good pass back. And that's a big, big kick. I think it was Santana Payne actually who cleared the kick for Perth Bayswater that time. Santana Payne hails from Hamilton. He was actually a number 8 in the Bayswater Colts team. Now he finds himself on the wing these days. So Nedlands with the line out on the 22. Still looking to score the first points. It's gone over the top. It'd be a little knock forward. It came off the fingers, unfortunately, of Aidan Lee. But Bayswater now with the advantage as bursting forward is Dante Tatafa. He's missed one tackle. Was that knocked backwards, kicked ahead? Good kick ahead from Bo Abra. right in front of the post. They need to pick it up and clear away. That's good hands in the end from Nielsen. And Nielsen created a bit of space, kicks, looking to find touch, and does so just short of the halfway line. That was really good play coming from Jackson Nielsen. Nielsen, who was Napier's boys high, played for the Hawke's Bay under-20s. So again, he's got good pedigree in the youth games. Good line out again, this time claimed by Kandhai. Good little skip, eventually taken to ground. Bayswater just really trying to not prevent Nedlands getting anywhere near that ball. It's a good break down the blind side. Driving forward Blake Phillips as the ball came out the side. It was he's conceded, I think, a penalty there, or in fact it's offside against Nedlands. So whether it was Phillips, I think it was actually another player before Phillips got involved in the passage of play. Just looking at where the referee has given the penalty from. So just placed into touch by Danny Vaiavi. Danny Vaiavi, who's of Cook Island heritage. Went to Guildford Grammar School here in Western Australia. So we've got time off. Referee, I think, wanting a word. I'm just wondering if that's a replacement just come on. We will see in a second. It looks like it may well be. Good clean ball again. Now, according to the information I have, Nick Prance is the player that's come on. And I do apologise if we get the substitutes wrong. We're given numbers and sometimes they change, as last week we were told that the Nedlands players changed, and it was purely because of the shirt sizes. Some of them didn't fit the players, so they had to change their numbers. Good chance to come forward. Thornley now for Perth Bayswater. Stays on his feet. Two players eventually bring him down. Good drive forward. Stops, comes in, gets the ball. Vaiavi, it's a good kick ahead. Going to be claimed in the air well by Menard. Menard offloads to Hardwick. Hardwick tries to come in from the touchline. Is absolutely snared by the Nedlands players. Roberts coming through. No penalty given away. Now a chance to come forward. Yagashita offloads it again to Vaiavi. Taken to ground is the captain, Jake Burst. Good defence from both sides so far in this match. Most of the game being played between the two 22s. Spun wide. That's a really big pass coming out wide from Otu Majia. It's going to be a Nedlands ball. Oh no, it's not. Stops has it. Ben Boost goes on a little run, gets over the advantage line. Again, Bayswater get the chance to set. Stops, waiting for the ball to come out. Bends down now. Vaiavi doesn't kick this time. Looping pass comes out to Hardwick. Hardwick steps off his right foot, steps again. Absolutely snared that time. Good covering tackle by Zeitzman. Stops. This time it's the big Bo Abra who's come across from Canberra to join the Western Force on a 2-year contract. Vaiavi. And it's a good pass again, spinning the ball wide. Dante Titafa out wide on the right-hand side, the hooker. And he looks an athletic specimen, Titafu. And there's gap for Abra. Abra bursting forward, bounces off one, loses the ball in the tackle. But Bo Abra showing that he is a really good acquisition. Originally hails from Tamworth in New South Wales. I believe his nickname is the Big Bopper. Well, that's not a bad nickname if you're going to have one. And you can just see one of those Nedland players who went in to tackle, I think it's Tom Sheminant who went in to tackle Bo Abra, just feeling it a little bit. Tom Sheminant, who, as I mentioned, came through the Nedlands Juniors and now a member of the Western Force. He was in the extended Australian under-20 squad as well. Sheminant is up, which is good news, but Drake Robson's still on the ground at the moment, receiving a little bit of treatment. I started to tell you about his father, Stu Robson, who also played first grade here at Nedlands. During his playing days, his nickname was The Animal. But Drake Robson has done well since coming into the Premier Grade. Wasn't playing last week, but has earned his place this week. So it will be a Perth Bayswater scrum. We've just gone past, or pretty much on the halfway point of this first half. Once again, I'd just like to thank Instant Scaffolds, scaffolding and access equipment in Welshpool, and check out their website for the monthly specials on various equipment. Also Lawley's Bakery, risen from tradition, more than a brand and part of the community, with 13 stores and cafes around the metropolitan area. We thank them for their support of this live stream. Also like to say hello to Andy and Maria, who we believe are watching in Windsor, preparing for the funeral today of Prince Philip. We hope you enjoy the rugby before that sad occasion. Good ball again. Taken into contact. That was fiercely thrown forward, was Nielsen. Clearing kick is long, but it should be fielded by Hardwick. And coming back for a penalty, I think it is, given against Bayswater. So Nedlands get the chance to clear now, not under pressure. And still we're seeing most of the game played between these two, between the two 22s. Both defending really well at the moment. It's a good kick from Sheldon Tarawa. Sheldon Tarawa, who joined from Joondalup Brothers. He was their captain 2019 and comes with really good raps. Apparently is an absolute club man and forever trying to encourage the junior players and help them come through. So a really good acquisition for Nedlands, not just as a player, but as a man. In the air it goes again, claimed this time by Zantana Pomare for Nedlands, and they drive it forward, but good work from Kalamunda. It looked like it was going to be really beneficial, and you can see a few of the players puffing. It is a warm day here in Perth. So the referee just called the ball to be used, and forwards didn't hear it, didn't use it, so that's why it will be a scrum to Perth Bayswater. Good explanation going on from the touchy. Always good to know that they are across it. Of course, nowadays they have the electronic communication, making the job a bit easier. Strong shove again from Nedlands, and this time it will be a penalty. It's taken very quickly. Tarawa takes it into contact. Two Bayswater players on the ground trying to stop him, one of them being Otu Majir. Nedlands again driving forward, pick and drive. Ball available now to Nate Roberts. Just gathering metres at the moment. Just a step from Raimona. Raimona trying to step off his left foot. Didn't really gain much ground for Nedlands that time. Roberts though over the ball. Comes out now to Zantana Pomare. He gets through the first tackle. Gains about a metre over the advantage line for Nedlands. Lost forward. Bayswater now, chance to come forward. The ball with Mojir. And that's gone out on the full. So we're going back to where that was kicked from. Just outside his 22. Otto Mojir, who played for Tonga at the Rugby World Cup. Good covering tackle from Yagashita, who was very quick to react to the quick throw taken by Nedlands. Now it's Slipper driving forward for Nedlands. They've got numbers in support. Bayswater a little bit sparse at the breakdown. Not a great ball out the back, but it's going to be fielded by Drake Robson. Robson stays on his feet. Eventually two players bring him down for Perth Bayswater. Nedlands want to get the ball out. go to the blind side. O'Callaghan, it was a short little step off his left foot. Still managed to get about 3 metres further forward for Nedlands. Now driving forward is Nick Hyde. Hyde taken to ground, makes the ball available. This is a good passage of play by Nedlands. Can they get the first points? Comes out now, big Blake Phillips goes on the charge. He was the man of the match last week for Nedlands. Comes the blind side again. Tarawa came off the defender and unfortunately knocked forward by O'Callaghan as he tried to gather as it ricocheted towards him. And we're going to have the scrum. That was unfortunate for Finn O'Callaghan, another member of the FMG Academy, which is the Western Force Academy. Scored a try last week in the opening game, O'Callaghan, and I think he saw one at his mercy there, but just could not get to the line. Is this going to be a chance again for Perth Bayswater to clear the pressure that they're under? It's a good spell of pressure from Nedlands moving forward as the wind starts to pick up off the river. You can probably pick it up in my microphone. Waiting to engage is Blake Phillips at the back. Stops, puts the ball in. The shove comes from Nedlands. It's a good drive by them, spilling out the back. Stops did well to hang on to the ball. I think it was actually Stops. No, it wasn't. It was actually the number 8. It was Blake Buste, and Stops got it back, and a clearing kick is a good one. So well played, Jake Buste, rather. I called him Blake, my apologies. In 2009, he was the best forward in the under-20s. He was also, in 2019, the JJ Guthrie Premiership fairest and best at Bayswater. Trophy named after John J. Guthrie, who sadly lost a battle against cancer and now has a trophy named in his honour at Perth Bayswater. Roberts, O'Callaghan in at fly half. Goes forward. He has Tarawa in support. Roberts waiting for the ball. Gives it a Slipper. Slipper. 2 players again driving him back. Good work by Bo Abra. He was one of those 2 players. Now it comes out to Raimona. Raimona takes it forward. Roberts again picks it up. Driven now by Blake Phillips. 3 players eventually bring him down. The ball spills out the side, and it will be a Perth Bayswater scrum because the ball went forward in the tackle. So both teams expending a lot of energy at the moment. As I said, it is a warm day here, and they're working very, very hard, and neither team really able to get any ascendancy inside the opposition 22 at the moment. And just having a quick drink and just trying to see if there's a player down injured. They're coming from all angles at the moment with the refreshments. And as I mentioned, if you have just tuned in, we will have an interview at half-time with Nathan Roberts, who's playing his 177th appearance for Nedlands in the Premier Grade, which is a club record. I managed to catch up with him at training on Thursday night just to have a quick chat with him and try and commemorate what is a fantastic achievement. And then, as I mentioned before, Jake Buste will be playing his 150th game for Perth Bayswater next weekend, so get down to their club and support them as they take on Wests and celebrate what again is a fantastic milestone and great club loyalty being shown by Jake Buste. So time back on as the scrums are about to get set. The big man on the side, just waiting to get engaged, Joe Slipper. And at the back, Blake Phillips. Referee not happy there with, I think it was the bind before they actually set that time. So Hyde again, make sure that he's happy with his feet position. And then eventually binds on to Tuki Remona and Tom Sheminant. Call a bind from the referee. A long wait between bind and set, but eventually we got there. And it's another good shove from Nedlands. That ball came out the side. It was trying to be cleared up by Perth Bayswater. They've defended very well, covering across with the back foot. The ball goes back. Clearing kick again. Finds touch. And that's good work by Damien Menard, trying to steal it just a couple of metres, running up with the touch judge. It was a good clearing kick though from Nathan Hardwick. Hardwick again is a player who's come through all the grades at Perth Bayswater, so credit to him to find himself in the Premier Grade. First to the ball that time was Titafa. Stops. Viavi. It's spun wide and just a lovely little dummy, but again we see it lost forward in the tackle. Ball now in Nedlands. Coldy-Cud. O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan goes to the boot. Kicks in behind the defence. Is it going to roll nicely for Nedlands into the corner? It's gone dead. So they want the scrum where it was kicked. So we're going to come all the way back inside Nedlands' half. Well, Nedlands have got away with that because it was actually inside their own half, that kick. And the touch judge on the far side saying it was in fact kicked from inside Perth Bayswater's half. So Nedlands have got away by my estimate of about 15 metres with that kick. So yet another scrum. And the pressure goes back on Perth Bayswater. Dante Titafa takes up his position. Another player that's in the FMG Academy, product of Arranmore College. Just 22 years old, the Perth Bayswater hooker. Bright future ahead of him. So the scrum's solid at the moment. Wait for the shove. Nedlands again pushing really hard. Stops, picks up well. Viavi, little chip ahead. Manages to avoid contact. The ball will bounce nicely for him. Viavi grabbed though by Coldy-Cud. Good tackle by him, the fullback for Nedlands. Needed to be, otherwise Viavi was through. Cundy now driving forward for Perth Bayswater. Their chance to go on the attack. Stops, goes again. Out wide it goes. This time it's Tatafu again. Tatafe. And coming back across the number 5 for Nedlands offside. That was Drake Robson. So it's right in front of the post. There's not much wind today, and you just wonder whether Perth Bayswater will go for the points, and they are indeed. Jake Boost points towards the posts, and this will be the first kicking attempt of the day for either side. The question is, will it be the first points of the day for either side? Last week it was a very difficult headwind blowing directly off the river. Today, that wind isn't there. And so stepping forward will be Otu Majir. Majir, who played for Auckland. And as I mentioned, played for Tonga at the Rugby World Cup in 2019. He was actually one of 20 Tongan players born abroad. 18 of them were born in New Zealand, 2 of them in Australia, and 13 of them had played representative rugby for another nation. Majir having played under 20s for New Zealand, so really talented player. And he's got the chance now to give Perth Bayswater the lead right in front of the posts. Just outside the 22. Stares between the posts. Back to the ball. Just raises up on his toes. You could hear a pin drop. Strikes it well. And the flags are raised, and we have the first points of the match. And they go the way of the visitors. Well, we've had to wait a long time for those. But it is Nedlands 0, Perth Bayswater 3. With half time, by my estimates, about 8 or 9 minutes away. Tarawa with the restart for Nedlands. As I say, there's hardly a breeze at all, which is making it just that little bit hotter here. Kandai grabbing that one. I was talking to one of the Perth Bayswater coaching staff who said Shakir Kandai is actually very deceptive. He's a lot stronger than he looks, nicknamed Sharky. He's another one who's come through the Colt system at Perth Bayswater. Always good to see players stick with their club and not move on to what they think may be greener pastures. So Hyde with the throw in the line out. Grabbed well by Pomare. Tarawa off the left foot was Zeitzman. Zeitzman taken down almost as soon as he hit the ground. He was jumping as he received the ball. Raimona gains another metre for Nedlands. Comes out on the blind side. Taken into contact once more, making the ball available. Roberts. Robson. Good tackle coming in from Abra. Abra's got through a fair amount of work for Perth Bayswater. Tarawa offloads it again to Zeitzman. Zeitzman almost got through the first tackle, but makes the ball available. Nedlands inching forward. Pomare just basically flapped away the first tackle. Raimona, again, quite happy to take it into contact. Tarawa steps off his left, runs into the first man. He got through that tackle. Second man brings him down. Roberts in support. Roberts jinks. Lovely little run. Offload to Hyde now. Hyde makes the ball available. It's scrappy ball, but Roberts cleans up. Tarawa looked to step again off his left. Offloads to O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan cuts infield. Snared, and has he got over the try line? And it looks as if, no, he hasn't. And he's been penalised for a double movement by the looks of things. And not releasing in the tackle. So Nedlands thought they'd scored, but denied by the referee. And they'll be a little bit frustrated with that. They would have loved to have gone in with the lead just before the half-time break. It was promising play again coming forward. Good work by Nate Roberts at the back of the pack, and also good work as well from Sheldon Tarawa, who's really coming into his own. Just his second game for Nedlands, but showing the promise that made him come to the club, or attracted Sam Rarasia to make him come to the foreshore. Should mention that Johan Bardul is the coach of Perth Bayswater, his first season in charge. Made 11 appearances for the Chiefs in Super Rugby, and also, of course, played for the Western Force in the Global Rapid Rugby. Had a spell in Japan with Yamaha Jubilo and also Coca-Cola Red Sparks. So I think the player that's injured, it's actually, just looking at it, is Shakir Kandai. So it looks like he's going to be okay. He's a little bit ginger. Obviously, I think got a knee in the lower back. Can be extremely painful. Hardwick's kick is a wobbly one that time. Didn't quite get hold of it the way he would have liked. Again, Hyde just asking the referee something. Can't quite hear what that is. A little bit too far away from me. Line-out's a bit of a mess there. And because it was delayed in the throw by Dante Titafa, everyone jumped across, and so it is Bayswater that are penalised, and it will be a scrum to Nedlands. Tom Sheminan marshalling the troops and just telling them that this is the time they need to score. And again, I think he wants a really big shove from the powerhouse behind him, which is Drake Robson and Zantana Pomare. You shouldn't forget that those two have the rather formidable figure of Blake Phillips coming up behind them as he crouches down. Ball comes in. Strong scrum this time from Perth Bayswater. Phillips picks up. goes the open side, almost tries to barrel his way through the first tackle. Ball made available, picked up though by Pomare. Bayswater scrambling across the pitch at the moment, trying to cover the numbers Nedlands have on the open side. Shemanant takes it into contact. He's brought down. Roberts switches it. Tarawa to O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan sees a gap, goes through it. Is he going to get to the line this time? Yes, he is. And it is a try to Nedlands. And O'Callaghan, just seeing the gap, managed to squeeze through it. It was a good run on the outside. And O'Callaghan finally gets his reward. And it is a try to Nedlands. O'Callaghan with his second try in 2 matches. And Nedlands will take the lead for the time being. Nedlands 5, Perth Bayswater 3, with the conversion to come. And the tea being brought out by team manager Stephen Bradbury. So slow, we've got a Perth Bayswater player down just in front of the kicker. Kauri Cud, who came through Nedlands Colts and also Napier Boys High before moving to Australia. His mother actually played rugby for Hawke's Bay Tuis. That's Lara. So he got his rugby genes from the maternal side of the family. This to stretch Nedlands' lead. Strikes it well. It looks good from where we are, and the flags go up. And it is Kauri Cud who makes it Nedlands 7, Perth Bayswater 3. And so far, neither kicker missing with their kicks. And now we'll test the mettle of Perth Bayswater. They're behind for the first time in the match. Off to Marjir. Kicks long again. Claimed with ease by Tarawa. And that's a great kick. That's a really, really good kick. Over the 10-metre line inside Perth Bayswater's half. From deep inside his 22. Well, it wasn't that deep actually, it was probably halfway inside his 22. I'm getting a little bit carried away. Oh, scrappy ball again in the line out, but cleaned up and driven forward by Nedlands eventually. Roberts waits, and he's snared this time. Ball goes backwards, Bayswater claim it, and then the ball was out, and the referee says so. Claimed by Nedlands, and they just taken it back. Slipper now. Slipper brought down by who else but Bo Abra. Nielsen. Kauri Cud has O'Callaghan outside him. O'Callaghan now, 2 players in front. Jinks off his left. He's beaten 3 players before he's eventually taken to ground by Mozir. Tarawa looks to go inside to Hyde. Hyde takes out 2 Perth Bayswater players as he goes to ground. Roberts has to dive over the top of one of those players on the ground. Raimona offloads, stepping off the right foot now. Nedlands taken to ground as they were trying to bring the ball infield, coming back for a penalty. And it'll be interesting to see in such a tight game whether Nedlands opt to just take the 3 points and just stretch that lead at the moment. Ball given to Captain Nate Roberts. And in fact, they've opted for the scrum. And we've got a player down on the far side of the pitch for Perth Bayswater. Looks like it's Keisuke Yagashita. And that's not good news. It looks as if he may play no further part. He also played for Yamaha Jubilo when Johan Bardul was there. And having to be helped from the field of play. Well, hopefully it is nothing too serious, and a little bit of ice and rest may see him back out there fairly quickly. Maybe not today, but hopefully next week. So scrum ball for Nedlands. A little bit of banter going on between Nick Hyde and Bo Abra. Abra has really shown that he loves to tackle. And you always want a front rower that loves to tackle, loves to engage in the physical contact. And Abra fits the bill. Solid scrum again. Phillips will pick up, goes the blind side. Corey Cudd. Cudd tries to fend off, looks to offload. It was a poor pass and it's gone into touch. Cudd was just trying to loop the ball around the back to find Finn O'Callaghan, and he just didn't. It was just slipping from his fingers and just went too low, and O'Callaghan couldn't gather. But that is the end of the first half, and it's been a thriller if you're a neutral. If you're a Nedlands fan, you'll be pleased that they've just edged it, but Perth Bayswater fans, you will feel that you are still in this match. As we go into half-time, it is Nedlands 7, Perth Bayswater 3. As we now turn our attention to an interview we did with the record breaker for Nedlands today, Nathan Roberts, playing his 177th appearance in Premier Grade. Well, Nathan, did you ever imagine in 2005 that you would become a record holder for Nedlands in the most first grade appearances?
No, not at all. Not at all, actually. When I first came over, I was supposed to just come over for a holiday. Mum said come over for a holiday, and I ended up staying. And then when I came to Nedlands, I just enjoyed being around good players and good club. There was good people in the club, and just started from there, really.
Well, you were the 9th player to play 150 games for the club, now 177. What's the secret to your longevity?
I have no idea. I just enjoyed the training side of things. I had a few tough injuries early on when I first came over. I'd done my right ankle, and then we lost a couple of grand finals, and then I finally got surgery on it, and then probably when I did my Achilles, I thought that was it. And then it wasn't till some of the good people in the club after training said come back and have another go, and I just kept trying to train and change up my trainings and try different things in the pre-season, and now I'm still here. So yeah, that's how it's happened.
Well, it's been good, and I mean, if you consider you've had some fantastic moments, you've won grand finals, you've won the PJ Hampshire Award, you've represented the Perth Gold. I mean, are there any highlights that stand out for you?
Probably the 2010 Premiership. We had a lot of close losses leading up to that in the grand finals, and especially coming from the rich history that Nedlands had in the 2000s and the 90s. So there was a bit of pressure on us to finally get that one in 2010. That was special.
I mean, loyalty today, they say, is an outdated word, but you've been at the club 16 years. I mean, what is it that has kept you here and kept you coming back for more?
Just the people in the club, to be honest. Like, over the years when I've been through the tough times, and I've been away doing fly out work, just had so many good times and good memories that I always said that was it, and then I'd find my way back here, and then I was just enjoying it, being around the lads and all the good people in the club. So that's how just.
Well, you're one of the older members now in the Premier Grade, but you're still holding your place, keeping the youngsters out, and captain again this year. So something must be going right, or is it the young boys not putting enough pressure on you?
I think you have to get smarter as you get older. You can't tend to go out as much as you could when you were younger. You had to sacrifice a bit more and probably spend a lot more time stretching and then working on little things just to make sure that when you came up against good young players that you were ready for the challenge, and you weren't going to let them just get the upper hand on you. So it keeps me on my toes, just knowing that everyone's watching, and then you want to do well for your teammates and for the jersey.
How much longer can you keep going? Can you get to 200?
That's not on my mind at the moment. I just want to try and play some good footy this year. I've set some high standards to really try and enjoy my footy and help all the other players make this maybe one of their best seasons they've played, and then go from there. But I've been enjoying my golf, getting out and playing golf, so I'm trying to, it doesn't help after a game, going for a game of golf, you end up, golf suffers, so maybe next year I might just play golf. We'll see how we go, There's a lot of good young halfbacks coming through that I really like to see them play some first grade rugby as well, so we'll see how that goes and after the season.
Well, congratulations on a milestone for Nedlands.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the foreshore in Nedlands. The second half of this second round of the FMG Premier Grade about to get underway. The score at half-time in favour of the home side, 7 points to 3. It's been a really tight affair. And as we saw there at half-time, just a quick interview we did at training with Nathan Roberts, who's playing his 177th game for Nedlands today, which is a club record. And I know that his dad, again, I mentioned it at the beginning, John Grice from Otrahonga, is watching, and all at Otrahonga Rugby Club, where he started his playing career. His dad, of course, John Grice, having played for King Country. And, of course, Otrahonga is the capital of Kiwiana, which is part of the New Zealand national identity. Did actually change its name in 1986 to Harrodsville in support of the man from Hamilton who had changed his shop and was not allowed to call it Harrods. And that was as a protest against Mohammed Al Fayed, the owner of Harrods in London. Quite a nice little story there. Second half about to get underway, and it will be Perth Bayswater this time. He'll be playing from the Riverside. Can they get back in this match? There was little to choose between both sides in the first half. Majir kicks it long, and it's going to go out of play and dead. So we will come all the way back for a scrum on halfway. Not the ideal start to the second half for the visitors, as the wind seems to have just picked up a little bit on the river now. We can see a few waves that we couldn't see at the start of this game when it was as flat as a mill pond. A few more yachts out now. Those sailors will do anything for an excuse to have a sundowner. So Nedlands scrum, you would say, in the first half having the ascendancy. But to be fair, Perth Bayswater fought back well towards the second half. Just managed to just dig in. And it just appears that Nedlands have a large weight advantage at the moment. The ball goes in through the feet. Phillip just shifts. Phillips picks up to Roberts. And a missed pass, Kauri Cud. Cud taking the ground, trying to make it available. That was good work coming through the back there by Santana Payne. And Payne gets the penalty. In fact, it wasn't Payne, it was Danny Vajevic, my apologies. Vajevic it was who came in and stayed on his feet, grabbed the ball. As part of the state under-16s back in 2017. Real name Othaniel, but I believe he prefers to be called Danny. So the kick will take them from just inside their own half to just past the 10-metre line, about 5 metres past. Dante Titafa waiting for his forwards to join the line. Ben Boost at the front, and his brother Jake towards the back. Jake lifts, stops, Vajevic. And that was good work. The big number 19 is Caleb Marr, it says on my sheet. I'm not sure whether that is, but we will, as I say, that's the names we've been given. The grubber kick ahead is a good one. Takes them up now to the 22 on the right-hand side. Another line out. This time it will be Nedlands ball. Just like to thank again Instant Scaffolds, scaffolding and access equipment for all your building needs and also your domestic needs. Contact them in Welshpool, proud sponsors of Nedlands Rugby Club. That's a big, big jump. The tap back, though, is not a nice one from Aidan Lee. Roberts does well. Abra is there as he eventually is snared by Perth Bayswater. Ball goes deep, and it's a good left-footed kick this time. Clearing kick for Nedlands, finding touch. Just short of their own 10-metre line, but that was a good kick from Sheldon Tarawa. I think 19 is in fact Caleb Marr as he's making his way. Known as KB. He's actually a locksmith's apprentice as it's grabbed at the back by Jake Boost, their captain. Leading by example. It was kicked forward, I think, out of his hands by one of his teammates, which has caused a few problems, and eventually, as they scramble to try and get it, they have been penalised, and Roberts is quick to grab the ball, wants to get on with play for Nedlands. But it's Sheldon Tarawa who will again look to gain metres down the left-hand side and just ease the pressure. His kick again goes high and takes them just inside Perth Bayswater half. And this time it is the Nedlands players who stroll towards the line out. Sheminan is first. Shifting slightly to the right, Nick Hyde. Up it goes, it's tapped again by Aidan Lee. Horrible ball for a halfback, cleared up by O'Callaghan as it went over the head of Roberts. I know one rugby coach who used to say, if you get ball like that as a halfback, kick it back at the forwards. Tarawa, almost snared by Payne. Got up to the halfway line in the end. Corey Cudd. Eventually, Mazier brought him to ground. Cudd makes the ball available. Roberts, Sheminan takes two again as he goes forward. Caleb Marr almost stole it. Roberts. And this time it's Nick Hyde. Hyde takes it into contact with Sam Thornley. Tried to stay on his feet but couldn't. Tarawa. That's a great pass and it's a great break forward. Offload is a good one from Nielsen. Still Nedlands ball. Hyde again involved. The hooker everywhere at the moment for the men in blue. Roberts helping with the refereeing. Every halfback does that. Nedlands gain another couple of metres. Roberts is there once more. This time it goes to Drake Robson. Robson stays on his feet. The two number fives, Thornley trying to grapple and eventually gets him to ground. Roberts has got numbers out to the right, gives it to the big Blake Phillips. Phillips takes it into contact, ties up about three Perth Bayswater players. Slipper stumbles as he tries to do a sidestep and it loses the ball forward. And in fact, I think it's not releasing in the tackle is what Nedlands have been penalised, so it will be a penalty to clear the danger for Perth Bayswater. A little bit of frustration there as things just didn't happen. I think Slipper, just as he stumbled as he was trying to do the fancy footwork, then was frustrated with himself. Joe Skipper, I think I was calling him Slipper, my apologies. Joe Skipper, who has been with Neddies about 5 years now, product of Hastings Boys High School and hails from Havelock in New Zealand. Trying to contest that one with Kande, but Kande getting the ascendancy. Trying to break through the tackle again was Otu Majir. Stops to Vaivi. Nedlands trying to steal it at the breakdown, but it was Tuki Raimona who was coming through, and eventually the referee, well, Raimona has the ball, but he's being penalised. The referee has his arm in the air, and Tuki Raimona not too happy about that. He's a player that joined Nedlands in 2019 and just came back from a spell in Spain. He's had his fair run with injuries, had to have a pelvis operation, and also had a broken jaw when he was playing for Taranaki. And that is a fantastic kick. You can hear the Perth Bayswater fans on the far side very, very happy with that. It's about 5 metres inside the 22. And a really good platform now for Perth Bayswater to attack Nedlands. Not surprisingly, they're taking their time to come forward. All of the backs spread out to the left-hand side. It's a scrappy handling, though, at the front. Nedlands pounce, and that great kick has gone to waste. Skipper was at the back, and what an offload that was from Roberts, hitting the ball at pace. Brilliant defence, though, from Perth Bayswater. Blake Phillips now makes it available. Rare poor pass, and it's now the chance of Perth Bayswater. Knock forward, and Perth Bayswater pounce. And it looked as if it was going to get ugly, but no, it was just all about congratulations for the pressure applied. So they've made amends, and now with a scrum, and they're put in just inside the 22, just to the right of the post. It's a really good platform for Perth Bayswater to attack from. And while they are getting ready for the scrum, I'd like to acknowledge again Lawley's Bakery, with more than a brand, part of the community, sponsor of Nedlands Rugby Club, and with 13 cafes throughout the metropolitan area, including Nedlands, Mount Hawthorn, Malaga, Osborne Park, North Beach and Fremantle. Round 7 last year, in an abbreviated season these two met. It was a very close affair then, Bayswater winning 18-17. And Nedlands played most of the second half with 14 men. A little bit of indiscipline creeping into their game. But that's taking nothing away from Perth Bayswater gaining that victory. It's a good scrum from Perth Bayswater. Strong. Pick up at the back is a good one. It's Caleb Marr, I think, who picked it up. And the crowd cheering them on. Bo Abra takes it into contact. The big bopper's going to have a big fan club at this club, you can be sure of that. Stepping off his left was Santana Payne. And it's a good set in the middle again. Eventually dragged down was Pomeray. Good tackle from him as it looked as if Bayswater were going to go straight through the middle. And they've got a free kick in front of the posts for not rolling away. In fact, it's a penalty, is it? Because the referee had his arm half raised and now it's fully raised, so it is a penalty. I was going to say for not rolling away it's usually a penalty, but it is indeed a penalty. So the chance to close the gap, they're going to go for the posts. Just like to again say a quick hello to Wendy Hickman, who's a life member of Nedlands, who I believe is watching in New Plymouth. I've got family in that area as well, so I don't think they'll be watching somehow, but anyway. And also Jamie Drummond at Churchies up in Brisbane. Thank you for tuning in on behalf of the club here at Nedlands. So this is to close the gap to 1 point for Perth Bayswater. And it's put through with ease by Otto Mogier. So Nedlands 7, Perth Bayswater 6. 100% record for the Tongan. And boy, have we got a game on our hands now. So it will be Sheldon Tarawa to get the restart for Nedlands. Kicks into the wind, it carries it towards the clubhouse. Fielded well by Titafa. Driving forward by Perth Bayswater. They're outside their 22. Trying to shove them back now and steal the ball, and it's good work by Nedlands. Roberts digging deep, gets it, feeds it to Hyde. Hyde looks to just drive forward and then make the ball available again as Nedlands go the second phase. This time it's Skipper. Skipper stayed on his feet through the first tackle, eventually taken to ground. Now it's one of the substitutes coming on. It's Sam Cooper rather. Again, the forwards taking it forward. Hyde involved once more. How he loves to have the ball in his hands, the hooker for Nedlands. Picked up again by Roberts. Roberts held up though. Forwards have to come and give him assistance directly in front of the posts. Who's going to go in at half-back? Wanting the ball quickly. It's a short pass again. Who's there but Nick Hyde. Hyde again. Just gaining about a metre over the gain line for Nedlands. It's a good spell of pressure. Pick and drive again. They gain probably half a metre that time. Just need to be patient. Roberts now. Short pass to Hyde. Go back to Roberts. That was good interplay. Hyde though, Roberts, was he holding? And in fact, it's stopping the ball coming over. Not on his feet is the accusation from the referee. It's taken quickly by Kauri Cud, but referee is wanting it retaken, saying that the spot was actually underneath where the players were finally getting up from. So it'll be interesting again to see what decision Nedlands make here. Will they go for the posts again, or will they try and go for the corner? They're going to go for the corner and try and get another try. Tarawa with the ball in his hands. Not too strong a wind. And about 6 metres out from the try line. So Nedlands set up 2 tries from this position last week, and they will no doubt have confidence that they can do the same this time around. It's a good grab at the back of the line, looking for the rolling ball, but it's gone to ground already. So they need to get the ball up. It's a pick and drive from Sam Cooper. Cooper just short of the line. Very close for Nedlands. Now it's another pick and drive. And the ball has gone to ground, and Nedlands need to just get it back. It's driven towards, they're just short once more. Trying to go again on the open side. Good defence from Perth Bayswater. Popped out the side. Skipper is there. Held up just short of the line once more. Now they spin it. Tarawa, is he going to get over under the posts? He is indeed. Sheldon Tarawa gets a second try for Nedlands, and they stretch their lead once again. Nedlands 12, Perth Bayswater 6 with a conversion to come. Well, I said they scored 2 tries from there last week, and they've done it again today. And a bit sad we're not seeing Brian Brahaney carrying out the tee. It's normally his job. Not that we don't mind seeing team manager Steve Bradbury doing it, but Brahaney's become a big part of the Nedlands Premier Grade team. So Tarawa to convert his own try. The high knee lift and then just dinks it over the crossbar. That's an extra 2 points for Nedlands, which takes them now to 14 points to 6. So Perth Bayswater are going to have to dig deep. Really good crowd down here at the foreshore. But then, why wouldn't there be? It's a beautiful day. And you're watching a great game of rugby. Onto Mazir with the restart. Goes deep. Claimed easily by O'Callaghan. His kick is not the best. And he gets a Bronx cheer from the Perth Bayswater fans on that side, as you would expect. So it really needs a bit of patience now from Perth Bayswater. Perth Bayswater, the oldest rugby club in Western Australia, established in 1906. Nedlands established 1934. Closed down quickly was Menar. Nedlands trying to drive over the top, and they're going back for a penalty for not releasing. So it's a good position for Perth Bayswater. Just wondering whether Stops was thinking, should we go for 3 points? And Jake Boost comes forward and says, yes please, we will take the 3 points if we can get them. And I think that's a smart move. There's plenty of time left, but they need to just close that gap. If they manage to slot this, it will be 14-9. And so then they're just a converted try away. Well, just a try actually would tie them up with Nedlands. If they converted it, they would take the lead. So Otto Mazir will be the man who looking to convert this. Played his rugby, club rugby anyway, in Auckland for College Rifles Rugby Football Club. I'm sure that some of his former teammates will be tuning in to see how he goes with this one. You could literally hear a pin drop. I think I'm the only one disturbing the silence here on the foreshore at the moment. It's not an easy kick. There's a slight breeze blowing across the pitch from our camera position on an angle, so he needs to just read that wind slightly and just curl it around. Struck it well, looks like it's coming round, but the flags stay down. So unfortunately for Perth Bayswater, first kick missed by them, and it may prove vital at the end of the game. We'll have to see. Tarawa with the dropout now. Puts it high and goes long to halfway. Mozir grabs it and is taken to ground. And that was the captain, Jake Boost, leading by example, straight through the hands of Viavia. But Bayswater said it well. Stops. Abra gets past the first tackle, stays on his feet. He's gained about 2 meters for his team. Stops again. Mozir kicks it in behind Kauri Cud, and it's running nicely towards the touchline. And eventually it just bobbles over. Kauri Cud just letting that one run. So it will be Nedlands' throw at the line out. So they will want to clear that as best they can. It looks as if we've got a change. Shakir Kandhai looks to be leaving the field for Perth Bayswater. And Caleb Maher, I think he's come back on. So Skipper leaving the line out, just in the backs now. It's a great jump from Pomare. And Nedlands trying to get a maul to gain some ground. You can see the ball at the back, and they're almost now up to the 22. It's a great drive by the forwards. Now they release it. That's a good kick And that's taken them almost up to halfway. That kick that time coming from Jackson Nielsen. So now it's a Perth Bayswater line out just short of the half, or just over the halfway line as they attack the Nedlands try line. Stops, good dummy. Cuts back infield. Raymona grabbed him just as he was going past him. Caleb Marr. Ball lost forward. Tarawa. Oh, Nedlands players not happy. Tarawa just seen a gap, and I think, to be fair though, that the two players for Perth Bayswater, which was Josh Stops and Danny Vaiavi, had actually stopped when the whistle had gone, and that's why Tarawa was able to go between them. So another scrum, and once again, just like to welcome all those that are watching around the world. It's great to see so many people tuning in to the Nedlands live stream last week. And I just advise you to keep your eye on the Facebook page and also their website and newsletter, because we will advise you when we're doing the next games for them. Picked up at the back by Caleb Marr. Stops. Vaiavi offloads it again. And set up well. Caleb Marr, well, he's full of running, isn't he? Having come off the bench, wants to win back his place in the starting lineup. Go the blind side. Morzier was just caught there. Just around the ankles. Stops now to the bigger number 18, Adam Ray. And they're wanting the ball to come out wide. Calling for it out wide is Nick Prance. Maybe it'll come this time. And it is, but it's not a great pass. Prance, though, steps off his left foot, taken to ground. Good tackle that time from Jackson Nielsen. Hyde is there in support for Nedlands, but it will be Perth Bayswater ball. Stops, gets it out, this time to Thornley. Thornley makes it available again. Stops. Vaiavi. Good tackle. I think it was Raymona at that time for Nedlands. Stops again. Boabra spinning it wide. Chance to come forward for Tatafa. And now it's Prance again. Prance looks to cut infield. He's got a player outside him, but grabbed really well by Robson, although a little bit high around the neck. And it's going to be Nedlands, I think, offside. So coming back on the far side, or although is it the referee's seen something or his touchy's seen something? No, it is for offside. So again, it's almost from the position that we saw Otto Marzier attempt his last penalty. But it's Hardwick who's come across this time. Hardwick going to kick for touch, try and take Perth Bayswater closer to the try line. It's about 10 metres short by the looks of things on the far side. Nathan Hardwick, who in 2019 was Perth Bayswater Colts' most improved player. Perth Bayswater, of course, won the premiership back in 2007 when John Taylor, my former commentary partner, was the coach. And they'd be looking for another one now. Can Bardul deliver it? Got to win this game if they can today to keep their hopes alive. Still a long way to go in the season. Vaiavi gets it out. That's Santana Payne. Again, the back's doing a good job. Stops. Comes out to Jake Boost. Strong in the tackle, Adam Ray. Just brushing aside the Nedlands player. Stops again. Vaiavi spins it wide up very quickly with the Nedlands players. Minar stepped off his left foot rather, and into touch he goes, but it's Nedlands are going to be offside, and the referee is no doubt going to talk to them because it's just happening a little bit too often. And this is directly in front of the posts. So, yeah, referee just stopping the clock, having a word with Nate Robertson. I think he's probably going to say, listen, just too many of those, and the next time you're trying to kill time, we may well have to send a man to the side, and Nedlands really don't need that in a tight game such as this. Big boost again, determined that they're going to go for the points, and who would blame him? So just waiting for the tee. Just adjusting the hair. You would think that this is a three-pointer. This could be the ideal thing if you're a neutral watching this, because it would give us a grandstand finish for the last 10 minutes of the match. "13 minutes left. Otto Mozier. Flags go up. He's closed the gap this time. It is now Nedlands 14, Perth Bayswater 9. So a try will tie things up for Perth Bayswater. A converted try would see them take the lead. So Nedlands really need to be the team to get the next points. And they need to keep their discipline after the talking to from the referee. Tarawa restarts again. Kicks deep. Is it too deep? All kept in play. That was risky with Nedlands players coming forward. That's even riskier, thrown to the try line. But Mozier's got through the gap. He's burst through another tackle, looking for support. Bo Abra's there. Offload again is a good one. Here come Bayswater. Payne offloads it now to Prance. Nick Prance is held up just on the 10-metre line inside Nedlands half. Appeals for a penalty. Referee says play on. Abra, Santana Payne takes it forward again for Perth Bayswater. Driven back in the tackle by Kauri Cud. Caleb Marr looks for a gap. The gap closes. He's taken to ground. Perth Bayswater, though, really trying to lift the tempo here. They're going after the game, no doubt about that. Dante Titafu takes it forward again for them. They're almost up to the 23-metre line, and this was from a scrappy ball right down on their own try line. Abra again taken down. Two Nedlands players having to engage to bring the big man down. Vajavi looking to go one way. That closed down. Managed to see a little gap. Crawls through it literally. And we're going back now for a penalty against Nedlands for a head-high tackle. And I think Jacob Boost was saying, well, if it's head-high, why isn't it not a card? Because he would really love his team to have an extra player. Just time off, I think, is the call. They've got a player down. It's Caleb Mari's back up on his feet now. I think he needed to stay down a little bit longer because Jake Boost wanting to just have a word with his players. But they are going to go for the 3 points again and make that gap even tighter. It would just be 2 points if Otto Mazier can get this. Now that was a brilliant turnaround by Perth Bayswater, and the man about to do the kick was the man who really created everything. He saw a gap, cleaned the ball up right in front of his post, probably only about 6 metres from the try line, burst through the gap, carried them up to the 10-metre line, and Bo Abra was in support. Good hands from a prop. Didn't throw a wobbly old pass. It was a determined pass, and the attack eventually breaking down with a high tackle just past the 10-metre line, just short of the 22. And now they've got this penalty. Ozier Looks again between the posts. Back down at the ball, on his toes, back at the posts. Struck it well, it's coming around beautifully. And that is another 3 points, which now means it's Nedlands 14, Perth Bayswater 12. Well, I mentioned it was a win by 1 point in 2020. It is now a 2-point ball game. And we have, of regular time without the stops, 8 minutes left by our estimations. So it's probably just a little bit more. And as I said from the last restart, Nedlands need good ball and they need to keep the ball. Tarawa, another kick, long and deep. Fielded well. Goes back to Hardwick, he's not found touch with that. Fielded well by Raimona. Raimona, the prop, accelerates. Brilliant tackle. Raimona taken down at the first hurdle. Roberts trying to step inside there was Nielsen. Nate Roberts again. Sniping down the blind side. Offload is a good one to Zeitzman. Good support coming that time from Sam Cooper. Nedlands are into the 22 on the far side. Roberts just scanning what's available. Goes for the short pass. It's driven forward. A driving run. Ball at the back, but Perth Bayswater up really quickly again, closing down the space, not allowing Nedlands any momentum to come forward. It's another pick and drive. They're edging closer to the try line. Can they get there when they need it most? So close that time. Pick and drive going by Aidan Lee that time. Skipper is off to the right-hand side. Had they offloaded, it may well have been the pass that needed to be made. Comes back to Roberts, to Tarawa. Tarawa trying to burst through. He got past his opposite number. Taken down just short of the try line again. Now Kauri Cud. Zeitzman played it into Prance. Kauri Cud regathers, sets it just short of the try line. Bayswater trying to come and steal it. Good work though by Nielsen. Roberts now offloads it. Hyde driving low to the ground towards the try line. Roberts picks it up again. Now it's big Blake Phillips. Can he get there? No, he can't. Good defence again from Perth Bayswater. Nedlands being prevented from getting those points right at the end of this game. They really need this try. Roberts asking for numbers. He wants Tarawa to be available, but he's too far away at the moment. Roberts has to burrow deep. There's nothing there. He goes towards, he's run into his own man. But it's going to be a penalty, I think, for creeping up offside. Taken quickly by Tarawa. Tarawa driving towards the line. Held up. And Kauri Cud is running over, pleading with the referee. Referee's in a good position. And he's called it back out for a 5-metre scrum. Well, credit to Perth Bayswater. Brilliant defence by them under immense pressure. And just felt sometimes too many of the forwards wanting to be the hero. And there were just a couple of times where if they'd have just been more aware of the men around them, Nedlands may well have broken through that wall of defence. But that's not taking anything away from the valiant defence from Perth Bayswater. Now this scrum could determine the match. Again, we see the drinks come running on, and I'm sure that this is just an excuse for Perth Bayswater just to regroup. Their captain, Jake Bust, will really want to have every single man continue to put their body on the line for the team. Just a reminder, this is his 149th game, and next week when they play Wests at home will be his 150th, a record for Perth Bayswater. So we ask anyone with an interest in Perth Bayswater to get down to the club and support a man who's been a real stalwart for the club. He's been captain for the last 3 years and has come through the Colts program as well. Once again, I apologise. I called him Blake earlier in the game. I think I was just combining him, his brother Ben, and him in the excitement of the moment. So Nedlands, with all the backs lined out to the right-hand side, they need a good ball. It's at the feet of Phillips. Phillips picks up. Offload, it's lost forward again in the tackle. Well, it was O'Callaghan's hands that let him down there. And now it's Perth Bayswater with the ball. And they will feel that they now can get the ball up the other end of the pitch and steal this match. That's a good clearing kick. Takes them just short of their own 10-metre line. Perth Bayswater were 11th last year. Nedlands were 6th. Nedlands have won 18 premierships in total. Perth Bayswater 10. But they've been building something at the club for a few years, and they feel that this batch of players coming through from their Colts into the Premier Grade now are beginning to pay dividends. So we have another pause. Gives me a chance once again to thank our sponsors, Lawley's Bakery, who have risen from tradition. They have 13 cafes in the Perth metropolitan area and obviously make wonderful bread as well. Instant Scaffolds as well, scaffolding, access equipment, all available at their warehouse in Welshpool. You can go to their website, instantscaffolds.com.au, and they will give you the best deal possible. Good jump at the back of the line. Aidan Lee lifted high. Nielsen, Kaurikad. That's a good tackle from Mauzier. Blindside. Skipper. Taken down. Good tackle that time from Menard. Good strong running from Pomeray. Now it's Raymona. And Perth Bayswater screaming for numbers on the opposite side as Joe Skipper again takes it into contact for Nedlands. Now they come on the open side. Tarawa looked to try and put that one ahead. He's got the penalty, so knew exactly what he was doing, and I'm sure Nedlands will probably look to take the 3 points, just stretch their lead that little bit more. That would take them to 17-12. By our clock, there is 1 minute left. I'm sure there's a little bit more time with the stoppages. Well, it looks like they're going to go for touch. So Sheldon Tarawa. Kicks it towards the third half, which is the Nedlands members, who are the very strong social aspect of the club. Many of them former presidents. So just short of the line, needs a good ball. Aidan Lee, good grab, and now they try and get the rolling maul going. Appeals that it's been dragged down by Bayswater. It has indeed. It's a penalty to Nedlands. Just 5 metres out from the try line. I think Tarawa is going to put it in touch again. By our clocks, that is pretty much time up. So this could well be the final play of the match. Can Nedlands get another try? It's been a really spirited performance by Perth Bayswater, who've not given an inch all match. But Nedlands trying to just stretch that lead and make it a little bit more comfortable when the final whistle blows. It's a good grab in the line at that time from Pomare. Trying to keep the ball up again. They spin off on the open side. Good defence once more. Driving forward. Are they over the line? No, says the referee. Driving short again, pick and drive, still not going to get there. Ball needs to come back. They go the blind side. The referee's the wrong side at the moment. And that one's just short again. The referee ideally placed. Driven back this time by Perth Bayswater. And you feel a time to spin it. Picked, and there was support there, and a try has been given. Well, just getting it over. We'll try and see who comes up with the ball at the bottom of that one. Well, who's the last man up? I can't see, actually. The ball's been left behind. So it is a try to Nedlands. My apologies that I cannot see that. So that now takes it out to Nedlands 19, Perth Bayswater 12, with the conversion to come. And eventually the pressure just told in the end, as you would expect it to, because just the physical exertion, the constant driving low, and the Perth Bayswater defence having to get down and drive them back. I think it may well have been Skipper who got the points. I think Nedlands feel that is going to be the end of the game. The conversion goes over, so Tarawa adds the 2, and that is indeed the end of the match, and it's a second win in 2 weeks for Nedlands after trailing in the opening minutes again, courtesy of a penalty from Otu Mazir. O'Callaghan scored and Cud converted. Then Mazir with a penalty at the start of the second half closed the gap to 1 point. Tarawa then took Nedlands ahead 12-6, and then it was with a try that he converted himself. It closed the gap again through a penalty from Mazir, but in the end that final try really making the difference, and the final score here is Nedlands 21, Perth Bayswater 12, and it means that Nathan Roberts celebrates his record appearance for the club, his 177th, with a victory.